Then the last one is customer service, reputation management, email marketing. Okay. I'm going to open up some of those apps that I'm going to be showing so I can physically go and show you too. Animodo. Okay. Did you want me to start?
Sure.
So there's nobody that's new that you need to say anything to? Oh, I don't have any water. I'll survive. Okay.
All right, so we'll just get started. Just remind everyone to, if you have any questions for Sophie, just direct them in the chat, please. And we will get started. So we've got mostly everyone back on from before, from the looks of it. And I'll pass it off to Sophie again.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. So this afternoon we done digital marketing strategy and content planning. And Brianna has sent to you the PowerPoint and the content planning workbook that I created for you. And I also promised that I'm going to send through her something that's a little more detailed on the audit, digital marketing audit that I created as well. I just find that so useful. So now we are going to talk about social selling, e-commerce, video live streaming, best apps, and that's going to be quite a mittful, and we'll be finished by 1:30. And then this afternoon, we start at 2 o'clock with customer service, relationship management, and email marketing. So how do you participate? Again, just a reminder, and a lot of you were, thank you so much. I went through all of them. It's good for the soul, because when you're just presenting like this and you are, many of you, we've all had to transition what we do. And it was, I love being in a room with people because I can feel their energy and I can feel, just questions that they might have. And I ask them specifically, what were you thinking? So here, it's kind of cool. I get to see what you're thinking. I really appreciate that. We actually haven't done this before in this way, where we ask people to comment with the big orange question mark. I really like it, and I hope you do as well. And I saw somebody asked a question as to what CTA was, call to action, and someone answered. Thank you for that as well. I really appreciate that. So there's no wrong answers, really just trying to get you to be in the now. So we did this. Now we're going to talk about e-commerce, understanding e-commerce and what the difference is, and social selling. And then we're going to talk about video marketing. And then this afternoon at 2, we're going to be talking about some elements of email marketing and relationship management. So let's just start. So what do you think social selling is? Oh, is this out of context? Okay, what do you think social selling is? So if you go to your chat, what do you think social selling is? That's try and say that. You're on mute. Just say the word social selling. It doesn't work. Social selling. So what do you think social selling is? So in this case, for this context, what social selling is selling on social media platforms. So selling on social media platforms, and I'm going to include on here selling on your Google listing as well. So how do you sell on your social media platforms? So before you sell on your social media platforms, we may want to talk about what e-commerce is. So what do you think e-commerce is? So for a second, just to engage, what do you think e-commerce is? I'll let you put that out there. I have, being my ADD self, somebody sent this and I just love it. I have one of these fidget things, and I have a fidget ring. So you need to know how to manage yourself. But what do you think e-commerce is? So e-commerce is also known as electronic commerce or internet commerce, refers to buying or selling goods on the internet and the transfer. What the heck was that mean? Just let's just say on the internet. So I apologize for whatever that was supposed to be. So here's some more information, and you're going to get this video as well as this PowerPoint right after this session. So in here is a link if you wanted to know more about what e-commerce is. But basically, you're online and you have as the user, they feel confident that it's a safe place to give you their money. And are they really giving you their money? Yes. Are they really giving you their credit card? Often not. Often in e-commerce, they are seeing your storefront and they are seeing your products. But when they go to buy, they're ending up at a shopping cart. And that shopping cart has often now been built by companies where you physically, the company who is the person is buying from, we don't see their Visa cards. We just get their money. So it's, and their Visa cards are secure. So it's secure transactions online. Someone was asking me, what was my background? And when I started at Bell years ago, it was before there was any online transactions. And at that time, we ended up, it was before Interact. I remember at that time being on a committee with the financial institutions, like the banks, telcos, and looking at how we transfer money back and forth. And my God, we have certainly now made it so easy that back then it was only the large companies could transfer money between each other. And now there are so many products out there, and that's what I'm going to take you through, that allows you to get money from your clients. So that's what e-commerce. So every business is different. Every single business is different on how you conduct business, on what you're comfortable doing, if you're comfortable putting your banking information online or not. So from a smaller company to a larger company, every business is so different. So let me try and help you a little bit. These are some of the people I helped pivot during COVID. And this is just probably oh my goodness, now I'd have to say it's a very tiny portion of people, but we would do one-on-one coaching and help them pivot through and help them take their business from having no internet presence to having a little bit of an internet presence to having no e-commerce to putting them on e-commerce. So all sorts of different folks. This is they have a used record store downtown Peterborough, Blue Streak, and anyways, there's so many different companies, and and then this one is anyways, doesn't matter who they are, but I'm going to be sharing stories with you as I go along based on some of the pivots these companies have done along the way. And so what do you think the 4 steps of planning e-commerce? If you don't have e-commerce, what do you think your 4 steps are of planning e-commerce? So what do you think you need to do? So think about that for a second. That's what I'm going to take you through right now. So if you needed to plan your e-commerce, what do you think you need to think about? No wrong answer, just to get you engaged. What do you think you need to think about in planning your e-commerce? Again, it's, they're going to be giving me money online. What are they giving me money for? How am I going to get them their product? So what do you need to be thinking about for your e-commerce? I'll give you a couple more seconds. I see more people posting. Thank you, everyone that's participating. This is lovely. Again, this is how you're going to get your certification at the end, just by participating and in these chats. Of course, you don't have to participate in every one, but so what I want you to, what I'm going to take you through is, first of all, choosing your virtual payment system. So that's number 1. There are so many different payment systems. So that's the first thing you're going to do. The second thing is choosing which products and services you're going to sell online. I have a lot of companies where they've decided, I'm not going to sell, I'm going to sell these things online, but not these. So for example, Chesler Shoes, they've decided that they're going to sell their shoes online, but not the socks and the hats that they also offer their clients, and the scarves, and not the purses, I don't think, but definitely the shoes. So that's interesting. So that's what they've decided to sell online. I have another client, knock on wood, they've decided they're not going to sell online. Instead, they're doing customer service. Someone has a question, they walk around with a camera and they do video chats with their potential clients. And so they're not selling online. So what virtual platform and systems are you going to use? Which payment systems are you going to use? What products are you going to sell online and services? So I have people that are walk dogs for a living, and they are selling their services online. They've packaged them differently than they would have before, so people can buy just 1 hour, so people can buy a series of dog training services with them, and they're buying them online, and they've done extremely well. Another one is, how are you going to give them their products? So with COVID, are you doing curbside pickup? How will they know that your product, their purchase is ready for pickup? Or are you doing deliveries? How are you doing deliveries? Now, one of our clients, Green Street, she sells e-bikes across Canada. And so she does all the drop shipping. So with her case, we had to do a step back. We ended up doing a Shopify website. In her case, we had to do a step back and look at the cost of shipping her products. And her products, they ranged from yoga equipment, which was lighter, to e-bikes, which were heavier. So we had to go with, really into detail on the fulfillment. So how far are you willing to send your product? When does it become too expensive to send it too far? And you need to go through those details. And then, oh my goodness, where you choose to where you'll sell online. So not seal, where you'll sell online. So so choose where you're going to sell online. Are you going to be selling only on your website, or are you going to create a shop on Facebook, for example, so you can actually sell on Facebook as well? So where are we going to sell online? So those are the 4 elements I'm going to take you through. So what are some of the virtual payment systems you might be familiar with? What virtual payment systems have you seen in your travels? And I think we've all seen so many more now than we have before. We're more familiar with it than we've ever been. So some of them, I'll let you just post some of them in the chat that you've seen. So what I found was I'd talk to a company, and if they were established already, they may have already had a payment system that people would come into their physical store and purchase, and they would put it into their physical store. So I would look at that payment system to see if they had a virtual partner as well, or if they had a virtual app that the business owner could use. So that's where I always start with the virtual payment system. I look to see what they're currently using, if they're a physical brick and mortar store where they had businesses coming or people coming in to buy products, to see if they had a version online, because that's much easier. Use the same thing, we're just going to put it online. I found a lot of the small businesses that I worked with, I don't think I have one of those with me, but I don't know if you're familiar with, if you go to a fair in the old days and people would have a little square thing that fit into their cell, and it's called Square. And you're buying one thing at a farmer's market, often they're using this thing called Square, and you can tap it now, or you can run your card through it, and through their phone where they download the app, it actually goes right into their bank account within 24 hours. So a lot of the businesses I was working with use Square. Well, Square has a great online presence, and they teamed up with a company called Wibbly to create the website. So a lot of companies that ended up, and she has a Facebook shop and message. And so with her, she still is taking e-transfer. Interesting that she's decided not to take a payment system, but this is working for her. And that's fantastic. So it's like I said, every single, whoops, let me find my PowerPoint. Every single business is different with what they can tolerate, or with what you tolerate. Come on, there you go. Okay. 4 steps. Okay. From current. So there's the e-transfer, and that's how she works. Then there's PayPal. PayPal had I don't know if any of you were around when PayPal first came out. It had a bit of a rough start, but it is secure. It is one that's respected. And with PayPal, you can go into PayPal, create an account. From that, you can create links where it'll basically have a link, And when and you send that link out, it'll let people fill in the amount they're paying you, and that goes right into your PayPal account, which then you have to remember to go into and transfer. So e-transfer goes right into your bank account. PayPal goes into a PayPal account. Okay, so now it's in the PayPal account. You're not getting any interest, and you've paid 2.9% to PayPal plus 30 cents, I think, per transaction. So you've got that percentage going on. It's convenient, but you got to remember to what are you going to do with that money? So what you do is you attach your bank to it so it can transfer to a bank account. So you transfer, it could take up to, I know I did one the other day, it only took 3 days, but it says it could take up to 10 days to transfer from PayPal to your account. What's cool is PayPal has become really sophisticated, whereas you have a website and you say your website has a button, click here to pay now. That button could be your link to your PayPal account. So all they do is they click on that button and they're paying on your website, and it ends up going into your PayPal account. A lot of websites have a great integration with PayPal. So we look at that. If someone's already comfortable with PayPal, maybe they just need a PayPal button. PayPal will also create a shopping cart for you on your website. So we look at that to see if that might be what some people want. So it's very interesting. PayPal allows people to pay by credit card, debit, or by their own PayPal account. So PayPal to PayPal. So it's very interesting. It's come a long way. Square is that other one I was talking about, where Square, I like Square personally a little better than PayPal, because with Square, it actually goes right into your bank account versus into a holding place. It doesn't go into Square. And it takes around 24 hours to get from the transaction into your account. So I find with Square, cash flow wise, you get it faster. It's still 2.9% or 2.7 is still around 30 cents transaction. So the fees are about the same, PayPal and Square, but it's a matter of what you're comfortable with. And what I like about Square is they now have a relationship with Weebly, who creates websites. Very, very, the websites do not allow you to have, the websites are kind of templated. So if you've got really gorgeous photos, your website's going to stand out, which is great no matter what platform you use, but it doesn't allow you to move it a little to the right, a little bit to the left. Like you have to use their kind of standard templates, but they work, and they have a great relationship with Square, and the payment system works really well. So that's one of the things. And then I'm going to skip over ECWIG. It's one that I'm not familiar with, but I know that some of the chambers I work with, chambers of commerce across Ontario, have a good relationship with them. Some of you might be familiar with them, and they have a solid reputation. So again, it's another virtual payment system. I just personally haven't used it. I like to recommend things that I've personally used. Woocommerce is one that is related to a company called WordPress. So what I've found is if some companies didn't have any payment systems, but they're on a WordPress website, WordPress works well with PayPal. It also works well with Square, but it started, I think, its relationship with WooCommerce. So it works really well with that, where you can create buy now buttons, shopping carts through your WordPress site. So there's a bunch of things I'm going to look at, and I'm going to also look at your website itself, because you might be using something I haven't heard of. And often the website itself has relationships with other e-commerce virtual payment platforms. Like I use Wix a lot for a lot of my clients, as well as I use Weebly, and Wix has its own shopping cart, but it also integrates well with PayPal. And then there's Shopify, and I don't know why I don't have that on here, but Shopify is one, if you have a big inventory and you're looking, and this is what we did for Green Street, they already had a big inventory and physical store. And what we wanted to do was they wanted to put that online. So we started putting that online, thousands of pieces of little widgets and gadgets for bikes, which I didn't realize there were so many pieces of things you can put in a bike. And so they've put all those online. So you go to their Shopify site, you buy it, and it now changes their one inventory. That was the whole intent with them. They wanted one inventory. So their needs were completely different than the dog walker who wanted people to just book her for a service, you know? So it depends on what your needs are. So those are some, yes.
If you're implementing online payment systems, should you take a course on cybersecurity?
I don't think you need to take a course on cybersecurity if you're going to implement a online payment system. Depends on, because as I said, the security part is happening in Square or in Woocommerce or in PayPal. You're not taking anyone's Visa card. You're not taking, it's going into the actual virtual payment system. Does that make sense? If you started becoming a virtual payment system somehow and decided that you were going to do the transactions, you're going to take, then I think you need to understand a bit more. But I never see a Visa card. When somebody pays for one of my online course packs, I call them, I do on the first Monday of every month at 1 o'clock, I do a free webinar on a specific topic. Next one happens to be on email, I think, email e-newsletters. And what'll end up happening, the one after that's on LinkedIn. So what happens is if they want the full video and the full and the PowerPoint that goes along with it and the checklist, they pay me $29. But I don't see it. I just get a notice from PayPal that someone has paid and it's in my bank account. I don't know if they paid by PayPal. I don't know if they've paid by Visa. You don't see any of that. So it's very different. There is, I think, good information that you should know about privacy and about security and about fraud. I do believe as a business person, you should be aware of all of those, but it's a different thing. You don't need to be an expert to implement this. Does that make sense, Brianna?
Yes, she said, yes, it is for you to put security measures in place so you do not get hacked, to avoid data.
Exactly. You want to make sure you don't get hacked, but you also are not collecting Visa cards. You're not collecting that kind of information, but you definitely want to make sure you don't get hacked. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. So let me just continue here. Whoops.
We do have one more question. PayPal
Sure.
charges for withdrawal. So it just said Q pay. So I think that's a question. Does it charge for withdrawal?
Oh, no, they charge for, they don't charge for transferring it. I think that was the question. So if you're transferring it from your PayPal to your bank, they're charging you for the transaction, the 2.9% and the 3% for the transaction. Good questions. Thank you. So can you list some of the products or services you might sell online? What do you think you're going to sell online? The reason I'm asking you that is then we're going to talk about how are you going to fulfill it. So you're selling something online. How are you going to fulfill it? Is it curbside pickup? I mean, a lot of people are doing a hybrid. When we go back, I don't know who's going to be in the green zone that's on this list, people that are on this call. Some people are in the green zone. So on the 16th, some retail areas are allowed to open of February, in February, and some restaurants are allowed to open at 25%. So a lot of people are still going to be hybriding how they're delivering their service. So is it curbside? Is it fulfillment? So you think about that and then you decide, okay, so these are the products I'm going to put online. These are the services I'm going to put online, or maybe it's a digital service like mine, where when they buy it, you need to have something in place where it's going to trigger that it's going to send to them the video and the PDF they want, or you're going to just get a trigger that someone has purchased something and you're manually going to send it to them. So on PayPal, for example, what you're able to do when someone buys something, you're able to have it automatically send them a reply. And in that reply, I could have, if they've bought the course pack, say on Facebook. It can send them automatically, once it receives the $29, it sends them automatically the video and the course pack and the checklist, which is really cool. So it helps with your productivity if you think it through. It messes you up horribly if you don't think it through. So I had one client where they were selling curbside pickup on Tuesday, and they just never said when the curbside pickup was. So then they realized, okay, people need to know when the curbside pickup is going to be. So what they do now, it's Tuesday and Thursday mornings, the curbside pickups, and they tell people that they need to wait until they get the message that their package is at the certain location. So you need to think about, how am I going to deliver my products? How are people going to be picking it up? And try, and we've come a long way. So many of us are used to this now, right? So what are some of the ways to fulfill your products or services when you think about it? There's curbside pickup now, there's free local drop-offs, or there's charging for shipping, there's people coming into the store. So there's so many more different ways to fulfill your product. So you need to make that clear when they're purchasing it. And a lot of the tools that are out there now will let you go into Shopify or into Square or into Weebly, which is Square, and it allows you to choose what is your fulfillment method. So it's going to let you put in the product, which I'm going to show you in a second. It's going to let you decide, does this product cost anything to ship? Am I giving them the option to ship it? Am I giving them the option to curbside pick it up? Am I scheduling curbside pickup? So they've all entered all of those variables into their software since COVID. I mean, it's very interesting. So what you're doing is you're choosing personal door drops or delivery of door drops, curbside pickup, in-store pickup, or digital services. So these are kind of the things that everyone has to think about now since COVID, because I spell commerce, yeah, because that's what your target clients are expecting. They're expecting to be able to not have to come into your store and know that they can get it delivered outside. So is that something you offer? So you need to make that clear if you do or if you don't. They expect that maybe you have free door drops. So you need to make it clear if you do or you don't. I work with one restaurant in town, Amadella's, where they were offering free delivery plus curbside pickup, and they realized doing both wasn't working for them. So now it's just curbside pickup. I could be wrong on that. She might still be doing it through DoorDash, but she was doing it herself for a while, and that just became a struggle. So list some of the online places you want your clients to buy your products from you. Just your website? So if you're going to post something on Facebook, you're going to link back to your site. Or is it a shop on Facebook as well? I'm going to show you what that looks like when you're tagging a product on Facebook. Is your target audience on Instagram? So maybe they can buy on Instagram. Your Google listing. So these are all places that you need to that you might decide to allow your target audience to buy your products or services from you. And I'm going to show you how you can make that happen. So what other places might there be? So here are some of the places you might choose on your website. So your website might be, and here's just some ideas: Shopify, Weebly, WordPress, Wix, and again, the one that I'm not that familiar with, ECWid. So these are just some of the ones that I've been working with, the first four. Shopify, generally, if you have a lot of inventory, you'd want a Shopify account or site. And it gives you the ability that each product has a unique URL, a unique link, and you can put that as a post, and someone sees the product, the photo you've put on the product, they click on the post, they magically end up on your website, and they're able to buy it. Weebly, same thing. You create Weebly, it gives you the ability to put in your products, and it gives you a link back to every product. So you can put that out there on Facebook or on your Google listing, so people can buy in more than one place. But it's all coming back to your central website, your e-commerce that you've decided to put in place. So again, it's back to what payment system. Okay, so you've got these payment systems. Which website does it work best with? So I'm going to create the shop on the website, and then I am going to put these links out there through social media where people can buy right from, so they feel like they're buying right from social media, but they really are ending up back on your website. WordPress, perhaps, and they're buying on your WordPress site. Wix is another site, and there are more, but those are the ones that I know are working really well. So then you're also able to, once you create what's called a shop on Facebook, Facebook owns Instagram. So on Facebook, you go onto Facebook, you create a business page on Facebook. So when you link onto Facebook, you're a human. You're creating a human profile on Facebook as your first account. Now, if you want to create a shop, you need to create what's called a business page or a company page on Facebook. Those are the ones that we talked about earlier, that if you post on it, it only goes out to 3% of the people that are that like that page. So, but that's where you can create a shop. That's where you can boost your posts. We didn't really talk about boosting, but boosting, oh, we did a little bit. I showed you the results of the one company where we were boosting for $10 for 2 days, and we got that lovely reach. So you can boost a post that's selling a product, and in boosting the post, you can target it to go to only, say, males that are over 45 that live in a specific city. So it's really targeted. So then you go to Instagram, you create your Instagram account, you go onto Instagram, you download the app on Instagram to create your account. And then when you create the account, it's automatically a personal profile. You have to transfer it, or you have to just convert it rather to a business Instagram account. And then once you do that, what you're going to find is you're able to link it to your business page on Facebook, and you can add the shop. And then what happens is the shop that you added on Facebook automatically shows up on the shop on Instagram. So every product that you've added on your shop on Facebook then will end up on that shop on Instagram. So because the two own each other, Facebook owns Instagram. So it works really, really well together. And then the other one is you can put products up on your Google listing. So on your Google listing, it also allows you to post not just a post, but a product with a price, click here to buy, and that link would be back to your e-commerce. So I have some clients that have just created the payment system using something like Weebly, and they have a link to every product they're selling, and they don't have a really good website, but they use those links to sell on Facebook, Instagram, and on their Google listing. It works out really well for them. And then you could also put those links that I talked about that I'll show you in a email. So say you are sending out an email to your EVPs, your very important persons, your list. If you're sending out an email to them, what we do with Kawartha TV and Stereo is we have an EVP list, as I mentioned, and we give them advance notice of any sales that we have. So in that, we will put a picture of the product that's for sale and a link that says buy now, and it ends up back on their website where they could buy that product. So there's a number of different places you can get your clients to buy the product. So what we did in the first session we were together, we were talking about how you gain their trust, how do you entice them and get them to inspire them so they remember you. Now this is specifically on this webinar is specifically on, okay, which store do I choose? What platform do I choose? What website can I put it on? And then where do I sell it? So virtual platform, decide what products you're going to put online. How are you going to fulfill it? And where are you going to sell it? So that's why a lot of my clients I always tell them baby steps. Let's just choose a couple products to start with to sell online. otherwise, I've had some clients, well, I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. Well, start somewhere. Just start with a couple products and then grow it. You don't have to sell every single thing you might sell online. Start with some of the things that are easier to sell online. So here's an example of the dog walking service. She's grown since this picture, but this is what she did originally. This says paypal.me. So she's got a PayPal account. And what PayPal allows you to do is your PayPal account.me / whatever your username is, you can create this link on PayPal. So this is her link. She sends it out. She's put her photo on there, her logo on there. And what happens is if she has got a relationship with someone, they've messaged her, said, I'd like you to come out for some dog training services. She goes, okay, that'll be, $100 or whatever it is. She sends them this link. They put in the word 100, they're the number 100. They press return and it says, do you want to pay by Visa, MasterCard, or PayPal? They choose their method and it goes right into her PayPal account. So this is a really easy way to get a transaction going. And then what she decided to do was she realized, okay, she was getting busier. And so she had the Square account set up already. So what she did was she created on Facebook products. So Pleasant Pooch, $275. You click on this to check out. It takes you to her Square site. On her Square site, she created something that cost $275. It was called Pleasant Pooch, and someone clicks on it, and it's the Pleasant Pooch, the Square account that they're putting their Visa card into, and they're paying it there, and she gets a notification that someone has just paid, and what she will get is the person's name and email of who's just paid her, so she knows who she has a relationship with that she's supposed to do these sessions with. So that's very cool. And then this is what it looks like when she actually also created her own website on WordPress, but she still used Square. She put a title on there, help me let you improve your whatever, your dog, your training. So she had the book now. And now what she did was with Square, it has the ability for people to book an appointment with you. And the only way they can finalize their appointment is if they pay. So I don't know if you are someone that is looking to receive appointments online, but Square has the ability for you to not only put in products where people can buy, but also a calendar that is linked to, in my case, it's linked to my Google Calendar, so it knows if I'm available, and people can register to buy a session. So I don't have that right now because I'm not offering that kind of individual service, because I'm basically booked up with this kind of training until the end of March. But I used to have it and use the same system that she's doing here, where through Square, and they would click on that. It comes up with a calendar and they choose which date they want their training. And then for them to secure it, they have to pay. So that's another way, if depending on what kind of business you are, perhaps it's services and you want them to book consultation. There are so many of those that are out there now because of COVID. There are booking systems that are out there, but this is a simple one that works really well. Here's another one.
We have a question here. Someone just asked, what's EVP?
Oh, an EVP is a very important person, and the E is electronic, very important person. So if someone is part of my EVP list, they're part of my e-commerce, my email VIP list. So you can create VIP lists if you like, and we're going to talk about that this afternoon when we do the e-commerce, when we do the email session. Or is that this morning? Oh my goodness, I'm so confused. But anyways, when we do the email, we'll be talking about EVPs, because that's when someone gives you their email, they need a reason to give you their email. So perhaps turning them into an EVP where they are getting information about your sale ahead of time is a good reason to become an EVP. I was helping one group do virtual conferences yesterday. It was or on Tuesday, it was a webinar on how to do virtual conferences and sell out your virtual conferences. And so one of the ways I suggested on there is create an EVP list, and maybe that EVP list, they can sit with the speakers of your virtual conference. Anyways, there's different ways. You got to think of how can I make someone feel special with my service? Is it giving them more information than others? Is it joining a group? So that's what EVP is about. So this is one where she's done a bit more than this right now, and she's actually changed her branding recently, but it was just where she had Square, she had a physical shop, and she was selling coffee, and she wanted to sell coffee online. So her physical shop happened to use the Square system. You would go up and you would tap it. So with hers, it was easy to go into the back end of square.com, put in her account information, came up, and we were able to indicate, okay, she's going to sell this type of coffee. They would select which one, and it was $18 a pound, indicate how many pounds, and then she would physically show up at your house with the coffee that she was selling. So this is another one where Tracy, That's a Wrap is her company, and she was getting all these people messaging her for what she created was daily specials throughout the week. And so someone would say, yeah, I'd like Tuesdays. And she'd say, okay. And then they didn't give her their their address. She's trying to figure out who was that wanted Tuesdays. So, and then she'd have another one where she'd have like a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday special. So what we did was she already had a Wibbly site that she created herself. And so we went in, we added the shop online, which really linked to Square, because Square is owned by Wibbly, or Wibbly's owned by Square. And what we did was we created every day we created a different menu that she was selling. So Chicago melt with Greek salad. And so what happened was people just click on this and they buy it, and they had to fill in their address, and they had to buy it by a certain time. And then she had just indicated that there was a certain number that she would sell. So maybe it was just she decided that I'm only selling 10 of these on Wednesday, I'm selling 20 of these on Tuesday, and it helped her immensely. It's become a lot more effective for her to actually manage her business, and she actually sells out every week, which is fantastic. So she goes at the beginning of the week and she looks at, what am I going to sell this week? And she changes her menu a little bit, puts it out there on Facebook that this is my menu and here's the link to Monday, and people click right to this link, and it's gone really well for her. So this one is Wibbly, and the shopping cart is Square. Okay.
We have one more question.
Yep. Oh, this is working out great. Thank you so much, Brianna.
You're welcome. What payment system would work for a monthly payment for training courses, for an example?
Monthly payments. So they have subscriptions, and I would think that would be a recurring payment. And I'd have to look at that to see if Square has recurring payments. I know PayPal does now. It didn't before. So I'll be glad to take that offline and confirm to see which ones have monthly payments. I feel like Square does, but I don't like to just feel like it does. I'll actually check to make sure it does. If anyone has any input, that would be fabulous in the chats on the side.
Yep, I've got a couple people. Moneris does.
Moneris, yeah, that is a Moneris rather.
Okay.
That's a good solid system that a lot of people have in their traditional stores, and they've done, again, if you've got Moneris, you'd want to ask them about what their features are for their online. So are they saying Moneris has the recurring?
I'm not sure. Yes.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much, whoever said that. I will look into Moneris because I know that one is a good solid system.
And then I have another question again.
Yep.
What platforms, e-commerce, would you recommend for artists?
Well, I like Wix for that, because Wix is one where it's stunning photos. Or if you're a uh, video, if you're trying to show things through video, it manages video really well. So I kind of like Wix, Wix. I'll show you. I'm going to go offline for a second. I wonder if I can show you. It's in the cloud, so sometimes it's too heavy when I'm already doing a webinar. But I'm just going to show you. I'm just doing this new website for Knock on Wood. It's not artists, but it's this is the old one. Okay, so it's one that I did with Wix a number of years ago. But with
She
Wix,
said also artwork too.
yeah, that's why I was thinking, because this one, can I just view it? It shows you how the editor works to go into the back end of this site. It's going to be heavy, meaning a lot of bandwidth. I don't want to lose you guys. Come on, baby. Come on. You can do it. And it's just it just handles photos beautifully. Really, really stunning. I'm going to have to move you guys over here so I can go down. And it's, let me just go to one of the galleries. If I go to, so this is the back end. It's not published. We're publishing it next week. I guess I can go into sofas. So I go into the sofas and sectionals. So it allows you to add so many different types of galleries. So I'm going to just go mess everything up for them. And the layout. See, do you see the layouts over here? Like I can change this to this kind of layout if I wanted to. Let me just go up and show you how easy it is to change things on here. And so so really you are an artist, whoever's asked that question. So you have a specific way you want your art to show. And that's why I like Wix, is because it allows you to really have a hand on what it looks like. You can really make it any size. You could make things behave a certain way. Whereas if you're using something like Weebly or Shopify, they really don't have all of the flexibility. So it really depends on what you want. But I really like this one because it's really beautiful in how it represents its photos. So I need to go in and add a number of more things before we go live. So that's what I would recommend. So I should go back to editor, and I really do love Wix. I need to change whatever I changed. I'm going to have to remember what I changed. Okay, I can do that. I hope that helps. I'm going to just get out of here and get out of here because it's too heavy, and get out of here and go back to where we were. I'm going to show you Canva later on. That's why that's open. Okay. There we go. So if you have a lot of inventory, Shopify is the one that I recommend. And so they had an old Wix site, but which they loved and they wanted to continue. But when they started talking about the inventory and the thousands of products they had, we ended up transferring to a Shopify account. So just that ended up working, and we trained her family. It's a family-run business, how to run it. And so, anyways, you can see there's all these different products that they sell. Someone goes to buy a product, it ends up in the shopping cart. So in the back end, all of your different e-commerce, so whether it's Shopify, whether it's Weebly, whether it's PayPal, they all behave the same in a certain way. And what that means is if you're going to create a shopping cart, they're all going to you're going to be going into the back end and take your time updating your general information about your store details, because where your address is important. That's your point, especially if you're delivering things, because you're going to want to, it's going to want to know your address so that it can decide, so you can then determine if you're doing curbside pickup or if you're delivering. you go through the shipping, and in the shipping, you might have a relationship with a courier company or with Canada Post. It will give you options to integrate their shipping calculator into the back end. So that's what we did here. We integrated, I believe it was Canada Post, into their back end shipping. So there's a lot of these things that you got to go through. Payment providers. In this case, we went through and we were looking to see, is it Moneris? Because I think we actually had that dialogue, or which is the payment provider we're going to use. So they have options that they already work with, different payment providers. So you go through the settings first, and then what you do go through is your products, and you start entering products. And I'll show you how you do that in a second. And then what's really cool is they all have beautiful analytics. I love the analytics. The analytics share with you what pages are people coming to, what they're doing on the page. They meaning when you have a visitor coming to your page, which products are your best sellers. So it works out really beautifully. So this is the back end. This one happens to be Wibbly. I could look up there and see Wibbly and Square, but it looks identical to the back end. If I went to click on products here on Shopify, it would have looked identical to this. So what happens is these are all the products. You're in the back end and you're able to see what your products are. You can categorize your products. And the way you categorize a product when you're doing an online shop, for example, is you want to have, in this case, she's got pots, she's got tropical plants, she's got succulents, she has bundles. In Kawortha TV and stereo, we have TVs, we've got audio, we've got appliances, and we have cameras. So, and we have home theater. So you're thinking of your categories in the way that you want to almost have the tabs on your website. That's how I think of my categories when I help somebody. But it's also when people are shopping, they may want to shop in Chesler shoes, boots, sandals, women's. So you want to think of what your categories are. And so when you're putting them in there. And then whoops, okay, so I'm going to go back and show you some more in a second. But this one, they also used Wibbly and Square. That Wibbly and Square, they were using Etsy, and they found Etsy was too expensive for them. It ended up, the percentage Etsy takes from each sale was too expensive. So they ended up going with Wibbly, and it's Statement House on a Wibbly platform. And what I liked about it, they had a gorgeous photo shoot that was done, and we were able to put that on here. And then what was interesting is one of the things that really seemed to be big during COVID and is right now, gift cards. A lot of these systems will create a gift card for you. Square creates a gift card. Shopify creates a gift card. So you're able to have people buy gift cards. The money goes right into your payment system. Then with the gift card, they go to check out on your website. They put in the gift card number and they're able to buy the product. So it's integrated. You don't have to do anything with your payment system. So some of the payment systems we talked about, like Shopify and I'm sure Moneris, they have gift cards built into them. They also have coupon codes built into them, a lot of them. And that's one of the things we use for our EVPs. Someone asked, what is an EVP? One of the things I forgot to share with you is on a monthly basis, we will create coupon codes just for our EVPs for Kawortha TV and stereo. We'll send out a newsletter and we'll say, this coupon code will give you an extra 20% off on these products. So that's another thing you can do with these systems, which is really cool. And they seem to be really popular. When we do that, we end up selling out of whatever the coupon code is related to. So that's a big thing for this COVID world. This is what the online cards look like in Square. You can put your own logo on them and customize it. And then people can send each other the cards. So that's kind of cool. So on her Facebook page, she has on Facebook, when you go to Facebook, you can change these, which are called your action buttons. You can change these where you can have a messenger, but you can also have a call us, in this case, a shop now. So on Facebook, you go on and you can edit your button. If you're in as a business page and you are the business page administrator, you can edit your button. And what I suggest is if you have a shop, to have it shop now and go to your shop, which is really cool. These are some of the prices that I just wanted to share with you. The rates of transaction 2.4 to 2.9 plus 30 cents a transaction is normally what I'm seeing. And then there's different levels of features depending on what you need for the websites themselves. So this is just something I wanted to share with you. You can look at that later on. So, okay, so now you've got your, you've figured out your payment system. You figured out where you're going to sell things. You figured out what you're going to sell. You figured out how you're going to fulfill it. So now what? Well, now you've got to optimize the description for each of your products. And don't forget to do that, because what happens is when you optimize it, Google will find your products online when you optimize them properly. So when you're uploading, so before you upload a photo, you want to, now this is kind of really tactical, you want to right click and say these are, I don't know my plants well enough, but these look like spider plants. So say you right click and you go, there's a spider plant. So make sure that you change the name of the photo to say spider plant. And then when you upload it to your to your actual I'm going to show, let me just go next and show you. So I'm going to upload the photo here. So add photo. So now I'm in the back end. I'm uploading so if I go here and I can create a new item, they're all identical. On Weebly, it's called item, create a new item. On Square, it's called item. On Shopify, I'm pretty sure it's called product. On Facebook, it's called product. On Google, it's called product. But anyways, you're going to create a new product, in this case, a new item, and this is what comes up. And so you're going to upload the photo, and this is where I'm saying make sure you have the photo named properly before you upload it. It kind of helps with your SEO. Okay, so name what I mean by that is when you go to your photos that you've saved on your computer, they're usually called IMG 136. So that means nothing to Google. So rename it to something that makes sense. And then you're going to give it a title. So again, make sure that that makes sense, because that is something that Google is seeing, the title of the photo. And now what this means is because you're selling online, it wants to know, is it a physical product or is it digital? It's going to ask you which it is, because if it's digital, it's going to let people download it. If it's physical, then it's going to ask you, are they picking it up or are they shipping it? So these are some tactical details, and it takes a long time, honestly, to put up your products one by one. You know, and take that time. That's why I'm saying decide what you want to sell online and start with the few and get the bugs out. Okay, so I'm going to put up the photo. I'm going to rename it. Is my photo too dark? Is my photo too light? What kind of lighting do I want for my photos? Then I'm going to put out a title, a description, and then you can actually hide your photo. So some of the companies I work with, they have seasonal things. So they're going to put it all up there because we're creating it, but they're going to hide it until it's available. And then I don't know if I scroll down or not. Oh, good, I do. You can also put in for search engine optimization forwards if you want this to have a specific link. So this was a yucca plant. So I might want to call this / yucca 5 because it was a 5-inch plant. And then the search engine title and the search engine description. And this helps Google find it. I know it sounds taxing and a lot of work, but it really helps you get your individual products found. And this is how you upload your products. And this is what is called optimizing your products. In between, what you don't see here is that when I scroll down, it's going to ask you, how much does this product cost? And how many do you have? So if you think of my friend Tracy at That's a Wrap, she has like so many meals on Monday. So she indicates she has 10. And then when it sells out, people know they can't order anymore. So it helps you with your inventory control, which is really cool. Okay, so that's how they all work. So it's just, and then now when someone comes to this yucca plant, this is what they see. They see the 5-inch yucca plant. They see that it was $24. They can add it to cart, available for pickup, because we went into the back end, those settings that I showed you originally, to allow people to pick up in this location. You could have said no pickup. You could have said curbs pickup, and allows you that kind of stuff. So this is now, after I have the product on set up here on her Square location, now I can go to Facebook, and on Facebook, you have the option to create a shop on your business page. So I click on shop, and I want to, I'm going to add a product. This is an older view, but it's very similar to what it looks like still. You add a product, and what it allows you to do is to put in a photo, and you decide how many products, what products do I want to sell on Facebook? Is it every single thing I've got in my store, or do I just want to sell a few things on Facebook? So you have to set it up, and you're going to put in there the product, the title, the description, and the link for them to check out is going to go back to, in this case, Tiny Greens. It's going to go back to here. Okay, now there's different ways that I'm not going to get into on Facebook that you can create your shop specifically on Facebook, but this is a very simple way with the time we have to show you how to set up your shop. So when they click on here to check out, they go back to their website. What I like about that, it's one inventory control. She's already told the her location that she's got 20 of these. So no matter where they're buying it from, whether it's Facebook, whether it's Google, whether it's on her website, it's impacting the same inventory. Very cool. Now, some of these tools, like Shopify, have a API with Facebook. So as soon as you put it on your Shopify account, you can link it so it automatically puts it on your Facebook account, so you don't physically have to do it. So those are just, I don't want to confuse you, but there are some of the tools will do that for you. So now
we have a question here, Sophie, before you jump into the next thing. Should customer has an account in our website?
Should a customer have an account on your website?
Yeah.
It depends on the type of services you're offering. You don't need to have an account on your website. But if you wanted to, that's a different type of relationship loyalty program. If they have a customer, if you have customers on your site, you could set up a loyalty program where you know how many times they've purchased something, and you're able to offer them some specials. So if your system allows for that, that is pretty cool. And a lot of these do. A lot of these, when you go in the back, when you go here, you'll see on the side, I don't see it right here, but a lot of them had loyalty programs. You can see coupon, you can see gift cards, and some of them actually had loyalty programs where they can have accounts. So that really depends on your business process if you're going to want to have individual accounts on your account, on your site. So when you're posting on Facebook, so what I'm doing is I'm putting a photo up on Facebook, and what happens is you see these little dots when you're posting. When you've created a shop, you can tag the product. So when someone is actually looking at this product, they see the price. And when they click on it, where does it take them? Right back here where they can buy it. So this is what we mean about tagging your product on Facebook. And now, because Facebook owns Instagram, when you put the same photo up on Instagram, you can tag that photo, and people click on it, and it takes them where? Exactly back here to your Facebook shop. And they don't know they're on Facebook, but they go back. They don't have to have a Facebook account, but it goes back to the shop, and they're able to sign out. They're able to purchase that product. So that is something that, like I said, we could do a 2-dayer just on how to set that up, but it's really helps your sales. And another cool thing is what you're able to do is add stories on your Instagram account and tag the story with the product. So someone can click on the story and buy that same product that you set up back here on Square or on Shopify. So it's really a great way to, and so here's some examples. This is Tiny Greens. This is a story. These are, remember I told you stories are this way. So this is a story that she's put out there, and you can see there's this round dot. What is that? Well, when someone clicks on that, it ends up, and you can see there's this thing that looks like a luggage. That means that it is a tagged product. You'll see that little thing that looks like luggage. So when I'm uploading this as a story on their Instagram account, I click on this little thing that looks like luggage, and it'll come up. I can type in, it'll give me a blank as to which product is it. I start typing, it finds it from my Facebook shop and it tags it. Now when someone goes, now I put the words order now, and someone can click on it and order right from the story. So remember how I said your descriptions are optimized? So it's that you have to optimize your descriptions. And this is why. So when you optimize your descriptions, I am going to search for, I think I was searching for air plants. What happens is you click on this, it takes them right to the air plant that they're selling on their site. So what comes up is the actual, this page. So when you optimize it properly, it takes people right to the shop, which is really cool. What's really neat though, is that Google also looks at your Facebook shop. So just another way to get found. So you've got your shop on your website, and now you've created the shop on Facebook. My God, how many shops? Well, if you want to put your product out in more than one place for them to be found, Google also indexes and finds. So I got mini yucca tree in Peterborough. It found the mini yucca tree that we put on her Facebook shop, which is so cool, right? So it's just all sorts of different places. So
we've
yes.
got two questions here. I think the one is referring to like if a customer should have an account on their website. They said, is this on the Square platform?
The loyalty program, yes.
Yes, okay. And then also another one, could you please remind of where to set up the Facebook shop?
You have to have a business page, and then you're able to add the shop on the business page. So you can't do it on your personal profile, but you would have to do it through your business page. Okay. So, so another place, so I'm going to just show you because I don't like not showing you. Do I have Facebook still open? Hopefully this doesn't hang up on you guys. Wouldn't that be fun? No, it doesn't. So if I go to, these are the companies that I manage over here. So if I go to Kawortha TV and Stereo, for example, and I'm now logged in as their business admin, I'm able to business app store, manage shop. So I'm able to manage a shop over here and preview shop. And there's just, it's through, you'll see the word shop on the side. If I don't have a shop yet, which I don't have a shop on, knock on wood, I would be able to go in and add the business app shop store. Okay, so they're two different. And so as you can see, the word shop doesn't come up here, so I haven't added it yet. Whereas when I was on Knock on Kawortha TV and Stereo, I was able to manage the shop because I already enabled the business app store. I hope that helps. I know that was fast, but I hope that helps. So on your Google listing, you can also add products. So can you add products on your Google listing? You were all busy saying yes. So, and then how much does it cost? This one I want to just stop and ask you, how much do you think it costs to add a product to your Google listing? Just think about that. You could type it if you want. Or better question, is there a cost? Yes or no? Yes or no? Yeah, I should have said, is there a cost? How much it costs is kind of ridiculous, right? Okay, so it's free. To add a list, to add a product to your Google listing is free. To add the shop to your Facebook is free. So these things are free. That's why I would say just let's extend where your shops are. So why add a shop to your Google listing? It increases your, it helps your SEO because you got a product and you're indicating what the title is to Google. You're telling it, putting up a photo, and you're linking back to your website. So of course, it's going to improve your SEO. So it's really important, and it increases sales. So when I look at the stats from a couple of my clients, so these are some clients that we have Google ads, very different from your Google listing. We have the Google listing, and I've got products on the listing. And then we look at where is incoming traffic to our products coming from on our website. The Google listing is always 80% more than anything else, even if I'm spending a few $1,000s a month on the ads. So the Google listings are really powerful when you post. So this, for example, Cortha TV and stereo. And what you're seeing here are 3 products that were added. So what happens is they come up, their Google listing comes up, but their products also come up. Now, I haven't added any for a while because right now we're just going under some transition, and we're about to open, as you all know, again on the 16th. So normally I would do a product there on a weekly basis, and it would come up in their search results. But when you go into their listing, all past products are there. So it's telling Google what products they sell, which is really cool. So how you add a product on your Google listing is, remember I told you, you find the Google listing in the top right corner in those 9 dots. You clicked on the listing, the thing that says Google My Business, and then you end up at this list. So when you click on the word product, it brings up this where you can add a product. So you add a product and you're adding a photo, the name of the product, the category, the price range, product description, and it has an optional link, but this is where you help increase your SEO by putting in the link back to your website. So now you got Google pointing to your website, which helps Google know what you're about, if you know what I mean. So that's really cool. Now this is where I've put a product in a newsletter with a coupon code to our EVPs. Back to your question about what is an EVP. So these EVPs will receive on maybe every other month, we don't really do it monthly, an EVIP coupon code, which you can do back on Square or back on your websites. So they put in Dyson 40 or whatever that says back then, and they received an EVP price of $199 versus $399 for these Dyson vacuums. And I know we sold out of those. So that's kind of a cool thing you can do. And again, we've had to put the product up on their website, the photo, the information. It goes to their payment system when someone checks out, so we never see their payment information. And then they put in this coupon code, and we've set it up. You go into that product, the category, or to the product. The back-end system allows you to say, here's the coupon code, and it is applicable for this date, and this is the end date. So anyone who tries to use that coupon code after the end date, it won't work. So it's a really cool way. We did this for flash sales for a couple other clients as well, where we did a flash sale with a coupon code on Facebook. We said, use this coupon code all day Thursday, and you'll receive an extra 20% off all of the products. And they went into the back end and indicated which products they were associated with. So here's just an example of that's a wrap, where she would put down her meals, that she has easy meals, and they click on this and it goes right to her website. So she didn't have a shop on her web. So the difference here is she doesn't have a shop on Facebook because she didn't want to go in and put in the products. But when she does a post, she links back to her place where people can buy. So it's still social selling, but it's not using the shop, if you see what I'm saying. Okay.
There's another couple questions here, Sophie, if you have a second.
Okay, I do.
Okay. Do you think for an artist it is good to have their own name for the shop, or a different name of the company not associated with the physical name?
That's a big question. That's a huge question. It's like me, like, I'm Sophie Andrell, and I'm my product, right? So do I go with 123 Digital Power in case one day I want to sell my business, the companies that I post for, you know, when I have some contractors, you know, and do I sell it? So it really depends. So I don't know. I think if you're the product and you're the company name, you can be the one and the same. Really depends on your marketing approach. It depends on, you know, I don't think you're ever going to sell the company because you're probably the product. So maybe you keep your name. I mean, if you're the quality product, the person that's talking, the artist, you might want to keep your name. There's a lot of artists that we know of and we think of their name versus a company name. So I think, you know, I don't know what everyone else thinks, but I think for an artist, really is the artist's name. But that's it's a conflict a lot of us have. Like, do I change my company from Sophie Andreu and Associates to Sophie Andreu to 123 Digital Power? But you're the artist, you know, and I really think you would. If I was an artist, I'd probably keep my own name, unless all I ever drew was like ladybugs. So maybe then I would change it to ladybugs. You know, I'm just making that up, like, you know. But so this is one on the Google. I think I'm going to skip over some of this to get over.
I still have one more question here.
Oh, sure. Thank you.
My company doesn't sell to the end user, only to the resellers in bulk. Should I still list our products?
Depends on your buying process for your, you could have I would, if I were you, do maybe so this person might want to have a location on their website where their clients can log in and buy. So if you have relationships where they can only buy with you with a relationship, um, if you are a big business, you still want the option of buying online and buying in bulk. So I don't see why you would not have a e-commerce. We have a number of clients that I work with that are B2B, business to business, and they sell fuel to agricultural industry. They sell fuel to fleet management, fleet companies that have a lot of fleets, and those companies have an account. When they log in, they have an account. They see how much fuel they've purchased, you know, this time last year. So it helps them understand how much fuel they might need this year. So they have a very intense system that they have in place, you know, because of their process. And then they are able to purchase in bulk through their online system. So it really, you got to kind of take a step back and look at your sales process and see how you could make it easier for your clients to buy. So definitely, I think you definitely want to have that online for your clients. So I just needed to remember, oh, video. Yeah, let me go to this. Okay, so I have two things that I need to do to wrap up this session in 10 minutes. And one is just reminding you how important your Google listing is. This is, for example, let me just continue. This is a company who sells groceries downtown Peterborough, and they had no online presence. And what we did was we created a Google listing for them. And you can see that 42,000 searches in one quarter. And we also created a website for them. We clicked on website on their Google listing, and they get found now in the midst of the big boys, which is really cool for them. And you can see that the customer action. So the insights for your Google listings will show you if people visiting your website, and so we created the website right on the Google listing, if people are asking for directions or if they're calling you. So it's really important. So this is the website we created with their Google listing, which is free. And instead of, they didn't want people shopping, they just wanted people calling. So we put in the phone number. So there's just some different things you can do. And I'm not going to get into this on this one. I'm going to move over to our video one. So again, Brianna is going to send you all of this information. So there is a lot of good information there for you. So why is video important? Video is important because why is it important? Why do you think it's important? Well, it's important because people retain more when they see a video. So you want to think about that. Landing pages with videos, and I can personally attest to this, have 40% more sales than landing pages without a video. So if I'm on a landing page and I'm talking about a webinar I'm coming up, so if I put a video up there of me talking about a webinar I have coming up, I sell more of that webinar than when I'm just putting writing of what that webinar is about. If I'm sending out a newsletter and I embed a video in it, which I do often, anything next to that video, if I'm talking about something next to that video versus just writing, that video helps me sell. So social video generates, they say, 1,200% more shares than a photo or a text. So video is critical. So what I want to share with you is, how do you think COVID has changed video? And I talked about this up front, so I'm not going to ask you to answer these. I talked to you up front about this, how it's changed it. It's made it more authentic. And here's an example, Sam's Deli. Up until COVID, I thought Sam was a guy. Well, it's a woman. And she will go online in the morning and talk about what she was about to create as her sandwich specials that day. Sometimes she would cry. We got to know her so well last year through COVID, and her business grew and grew. And this is who she is. So it's unfiltered. People are looking for authentic, so they can trust you. They understand what you're all about. Videos. So do people listen to video on social with the volume on or off, do you think? What do you think? So they listen with it off. You're right. I see people shaking their heads. They listen with it off. They listen with it off. Is that English? So they normally have the volume off because they're often watching TV. They're doing something else, so the volume is off. So 85% of the people won't turn it on. So what should you do is add subtitles. Woohoo! So subtitles is an easy thing to do on Facebook. And subtitles, if you're doing short videos and you want to add some words to it, you can do that with some of the apps I'm going to show you. So so subtitles are important. And I can just show you on, if I go to Chesler's Shoes, here she is. I did one for her, I think yesterday. Not that one. No, of course, I'm not going to find it. I could just go to all the videos, which would be helpful. But, oh, it was Quartha TV and stereo I'm thinking of. But anyways, so you can see at the bottom here, it's saying which. So you can see what she's saying is coming up here at the bottom. That's what I mean by subtitles. Well, okay, now she's not going to stop talking. Oh. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so that's what I mean by subtitles. So there's different ways to do that. And captions actually improve SEO as well, because when you put in the captions, Google can actually read the captions. So that's kind of interesting. So do videos increase sales? Yes, they do. I already mentioned that they do. They increase it by a large percentage. There's just some more documents that I'm going to be sending to you through Brianna. So should you be prepared for or just record your videos? What do you think? Do you think you should prepare or just fly off the handle? Well, I think you should prepare. I think you should have your bullet points down as to what you're going to say, unless you're able to just talk off the cuff. I think preparing is key. It reduces time, reduces editing. If you're going to go in and try and edit, I'm not sure what it increases, but it increases effectiveness. I don't think that that should have been there. So what I like to do is I like to do the in just Post-it notes. I like to put the Post-its in front of me as to what are the 3 or 4 topics I want to talk about, so I don't forget. And so I actually talk about them. So I don't read because no one wants to see eyeballs moving, but it's just so that I'm prepared. So what you want to do is think about, what is your video's outcome? What are you hoping people are going to go away with? So then thinking, what are the main points that you want to talk about? Are there any props? People love props. So if I'm going to be doing a video and I want to talk about traveling across to Mexico, I'm probably going to have photos of some of our photos that we took in Mexico living on the beach like we did for a month or so. I probably have some props, our VW bus. Or if I'm going to talk about some video recording equipment, I'm going to have the video recording equipment with me so I can have props. So having props are good. Test your lighting. For my setup, I have the big umbrella lights that are on the other side of the camera. But the way I've set up this office, I have a big window right on the other side of the camera. So you always have the lighting behind the camera, so it's nicely in your face, you're lit up. I always put the camera up. Every degree up, I think, takes off 5 years. So, I mean, I should be 3 years old by now. Mine is so high, but I like having it high so that I look thinner, and it's just a better view than up the nose as well. Test the lighting. So if you are going to do a video at night, make sure you test the lighting at night. We did a TV program, BizMap PTBO, a few years ago, and we would do a test in the daytime, and then at night the lighting was so different. So make sure you test the sound. If there's a make sure that your sound is good, and make sure that whatever you're recording with, you have a stand for it. There are so many stands for cell phones now, for my video camera on top of my computer. Just make sure you have a stand. I really, you don't want it to be moving around. There's they cost $14, the stands for your phones. They clip onto your phone, and then the other end is an arm that clips onto a table. You can put it anywhere, and it's really helpful. So just test it, press record, and you're going to find that once you start getting it out there, whether it's showcasing an employee, people love behind the scenes, showing them what you do, showing them your artist's approach, showing them a blank canvas perhaps, and then what your inspiration was. Don't be scared to talk about it. People love that. So share excitement, a client's excitement, upcoming events. People trust eyes. They want to see your eyeballs. They want to see that you're a real person. So I'm just going to show you the answers to these. You're going to get all of this in